an intern at Astrazeneca. He has a full-time employment offer starting in July. So he's here to represent what it has been like for him through his internship opportunity and now securing full-time employment at AZ. And Tom Matlock has joined. So hey, Tom, thanks for being here today. Tom is fairly new to AstraZeneca, and he's our talent acquisition, inclusion, and diversity lead. So Tom and I are looking forward to partnering on events like this throughout the course of the fall. So welcome, Tom. Thank you. And hello, everyone. So my name's Courtney Mitchner-Miller, and I look after talent and development for our U.S. biopharmaceuticals business. So that is the commercial arm of the business, and we are located in close proximity to Delaware State, actually. So I'm currently sitting in the office, although my background is a fake European, very cool, lofty scene where I wish I was right now. But I'm in Wilmington, Delaware, at our AstraZeneca headquarters. And then we've got a Gaithersburg location in close proximity to Delaware State as well. So that's important to recognize. The purpose of our call today, again, to be extremely informal, but to give you some background information about AstraZeneca, who we are, what we do, what's important to us. We'll serve up some key highlights about internship opportunities and where to get that information, and then really leave you with the ask to start some research, to connect with several of us on LinkedIn, and to start the process of really advocating for yourselves within your own career journey. Okay? So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen. What that means is that I will lose the ability to see anybody that's on video or to see the chat. So David's going to back me up. If you've got questions, I'm fine to be interrupted, David. So please jump in. Otherwise, we'll have time at the end. Okay? All right, here we go. Okay, are we good, David?
Yes, we are.
Okay, perfect. All right, so here we go. So AstraZeneca, I'm sure you've heard a bit about us in the news, perhaps, as it relates to the vaccine. But what is interesting about AZ to me is that I actually grew up in this area. I grew up in Pennsylvania in a little town called Kennett Square. And so driving past AstraZeneca to me meant this like big, huge office building. I had no idea what was going on there. It was very close to the Concord Mall, which my family would frequent for back to school shopping and things of that nature. But I had no idea what AZ was. I went to school for communications and then for education. So I was in public relations, if you will, at universities for quite a while. And then I taught 5th grade. And by no stretch of the imagination did I ever think that I would be in an organization that was pushing the boundaries of science to deliver life-changing medicines. So that speaks to the background and the diversity of background of people that work at AZ. I came here 6 years ago, and it was to use my education background to write curriculum, sales training curriculum, for an oncology product that we have for women with ovarian cancer called Lynparza. I had no idea what Lynparza was. I did not know much about ovarian cancer, but I sure loved writing curriculum and knew that I could do something patient-centric that would stick. And through that work here, I found my love for AstraZeneca and began to learn about the rest of the work that was happening in the organization. So I tell you that story because I don't know your backgrounds, I don't know your interests, I don't know what you're studying right now, but I guarantee you that your talent can find a place here. If you look. So I just want to put that out there for you as we begin with a very high science type theme, right? Because AstraZeneca we do follow the science. That's what we do here. And that scientific leadership and accelerated growth is the core of our business. It takes a lot of people to make that happen with a lot of different skill sets. And we are constantly transforming the way we work. We're working on our culture to make sure it's sustainable and to make sure that we're giving back to society in the right ways. So within that, at AZ, we are a large, large global company. I had no idea when I first started here how big we were. So when you look at that number, right, 76,100 employees worldwide, that's insane, right? To think that there's that many people that work for AstraZeneca. So a truly global company brings its own ability for you to start somewhere and grow infinitely within the organization. So when I first started here, I was aligned to just the US business. I was sitting where I'm sitting now in Wilmington. Throughout the course of the past 6 years, I've had global roles. So I've spent a lot of time abroad. I've spent a lot of time learning how other areas of the world deliver pharmaceutical products to their patients. And I've learned about our different set areas. And when I say set areas, I mean areas of our executive teams. So we're broken up in the organization into R&D, research and development, those who work on develop our products, right? High science. We then have operations, so those folks who get our medicines packaged and delivered to where they need to go. And then the commercial organization, those individuals who deliver to our healthcare providers and our patients. We then have enabling functions. So folks like me now, right? I'm in human resources. Folks like Tom, he's in talent acquisition. We have a whole finance organization, insights and analytics. We have a corporate affairs organization. So when I told you earlier, the skill sets that we need here and that are required are vast, it's true. 76,000 folks is a lot of individuals. In the US alone, our largest footprint, we have 13,400 or so, right, fluctuating to a degree, US employees. We are the largest market in the business. And therefore, we take that very seriously, right? So we do a lot of work to make sure we've got the best talent in the U.S. In our annual sales numbers, these are huge numbers. Again, the educator in me would never imagine that I would say I'd be working for a company that had $26.6 billion in sales worldwide, right? 8 billion of those in the US alone. When we look at the global footprint, this is a great visual of our North American headquarters. So I'm actually in that building right now in Wilmington, Delaware, if you've seen it. The Gaithersburg site that I noted at the beginning of our conversation is there in picture.
Son is talking about the pros of colonization.
Uh-oh, I hear somebody coming in there, but I don't think it was for a question for this. It might just been an unmute. Does anybody want to jump in? Okay, no problem. So across North America, you can see our sites and our R&D, manufacturing, commercial sites located across the states in the U.S. It is important to note that more than 30 medicines are approved for use in the U.S. That number fluctuates by country as each country has its own protocol for approving medicines. Beyond that, and this is a lot of the work that I'm focused on within the HR organization, is our commitment to our patients, to access of our medications, to affordability of our medications, and to giving. So this slide is just beautiful in the way it puts into 3 columns those categories. So the AZ and Me program is where folks that can't afford their medications can call Astrazeneca's hotline, if you will, and work with AstraZeneca to make sure those medications can be affordable. So if you ever hear an AZ commercial online, if you can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help. That's exactly what we mean there. That's our AZ and Me program. And you can see we've assisted over 4.6 million patients since 2007. We donate products across the board frequently on an annual basis, especially via the AmeriCares program. And we make sure that these products get to areas perhaps that are hard hit. So if there's been a hurricane or a local disaster, AstraZeneca is all over it, as well as clinics that we partner with across the US. And the giving section highlights our Power of Us program. Every AstraZeneca employee has the ability to donate to Power of Us. So I'll give you an example. I did my undergrad at Penn State, and every year Penn State has a dance marathon that raises over $13 million for kids with cancer. When I donate $100 via Power of Us, AstraZeneca then donates and matches that contribution on my behalf. So I'm able to then give $200 just with 100 of my own into the charitable contribution of my choice. So that has vast potential. We have employees using that across the board in very different ways. And we also have the ability to take a certain number of vacation days a year to go volunteer at the organizations of our choice. Our strategic priorities are outlined here. I won't spend a lot of time here. They are very corporate in nature, if you will, but once you're inside, right, once you're in the business, you understand the focus on delivering growth and therapy area leadership. Therapy areas in the US are broken to oncology, cardiovascular, respiratory and immunology, and renal. That may mean something to you, that may mean nothing to you, but it's important to know that those therapy areas dictate how our commercial business runs. We accelerate innovative science. Our R&D function is phenomenal in this capacity and has many university partnerships across the world in which we're looking at innovative science and molecular investigation, and then be a great place to work. So of the strategic priorities within the HR business, HR owns this, right? We work with our business areas to make sure that AstraZeneca continues to be and thrive to be a great place to work. Our values, again, we take very seriously, and I'm glad this is here, and this is why. So when you interview at AstraZeneca, whether it's for an internship or whether it's for a full-time role, and I'm sure it's like this in many other companies, the interviews themselves are actually framed off of these values. So before you ever step foot into that interview room or virtual room, make sure that you're familiar with these values for any company that you're going to. So at AstraZeneca, we follow the science. We put patients first. We play to win. We do the right thing. We are entrepreneurial. We will thread interview questions to this degree, obviously not showing perhaps how you've done that in a work environment, but how you may be doing that in your schooling, in your classes, in any other internship you've had, anywhere in life where these values may be coming through for you. Our hope and intent is that they continue to grow while you're here, and trust that we do anchor to these on a regular basis throughout our work days. And then I'm going to just speak briefly about I&D at AstraZeneca. And someone like Tom on the line is extremely well versed in this and is here to drive this business imperative for us. But you see pictured here on the screen, this is Pascal Soriot. So Pascal is our CEO and executive director. He's not housed here in Wilmington, although he does frequent under normal non-pandemic circumstances. We do see him pass through 2 or 3 times a year. But several years ago, he made inclusion and diversity fundamental to the success of our company. So it's always been woven in and out of our conversations. It's always been a part of everything we do, but it is a strategic imperative now. It is intertwined in each of the descriptors of the values we just talked about. And we have spent an abundance amount of work making sure that our managers understand what inclusive behavior looks like and feels like, and how to think about inclusion when they're hiring for their teams. I actually was just in a conversation with David earlier this morning, and this came to the forefront for me. So he was giving me the student perspective just on a presentation like this. You know, what may some of the questions be? Without David being early in his career, without him having the university experience that he's just had, and without him being fresh on that, I would not have had that context, and nobody on my team that's been out of school for quite some time would have had his insight. That alone is an example of the inclusion that we're looking to spark. So when we say we push boundaries to deliver innovation, that's what we mean. Within our teams, we're always looking to improve and strike the right chord of the inclusion of thought and the diversity of experiences that we bring to the table. The 3 priorities that drive our I&D strategy are listed here. So inclusive leadership, fostering a speak up culture, which I can't tell you how many times a day I say I'm doing this in the spirit of speaking up, right? I'm here to challenge based on this. Saying what you mean when you mean it and why, and not being afraid to do so is very important, and building and sustaining a diverse talent pipeline. And so that specifically is the area of the business that I look after. So both internally and externally, thinking about how we are building and sustaining a diverse talent pipeline is the work that I am honored and have the gift of doing here at AZ. And our inclusive culture has been publicly recognized. So don't expect, I don't expect rounds of applause or anything for this, right? But this is just a highlight of some of the things that are important in the news flow that happen in huge corporations like AZ, that we are very proud to say that the work that we are doing is really starting to reap the benefits, both for our organization, for the way we're able to deliver to our patients, and also in the world of recognition and awards for the work that we're doing here. Okay. Now this is where it gets good, right? So our undergrad internship programs. So a few things are important here. Number one is there's an internship program. It is a 12-week paid internship program geared towards undergrad students. across many areas of the business. What dictates those assignments is the business area saying and raising their hand, I would like an intern. They actually draft the job descriptions and submit them in. Those jobs are then posted. Within these experiences, you will see everything posted from HR through high science, through engineering, through R&D, through operations, through IT. You will see it all. So it is a vast array of assignments that are both local to the US and also global. There's apprenticeships and internship programs that are also global and have a robust application process. There's also the tier of our graduate internships, and our graduate internships currently are very much geared towards MBAs. We do have them in small pockets globally across the business, which the information on them is posted on our website as well. But those MBA internship opportunities are what someone like David on the line has experienced, in which he was able to come in for an MBA internship and understand what he was looking for in his career and find his role at AZ. So David, if you don't mind, would you speak to that for us a bit, just to paint that picture?
Yeah, I'd be glad to, and excited to share some of my experiences at Astrazeneca because it's been nothing but positive thus far. So I'll take everyone back a second by saying that I took the opportunity to do several internships when I was an undergraduate. I interned down in DC in government affairs. I interned in financial services, and my internships then were a lot of the same. I found myself coming into work every day, doing the same thing throughout most of the day, and not having that much opportunity to grow. That wasn't the case at AstraZeneca. I never thought I was going to find myself in pharmaceuticals, but when the opportunity presented itself in a career session like this to find my way over to pharmaceuticals, I jumped at it. And I joined AstraZeneca in June of 2020 in the federal government affairs team, also working on strategic partnerships. And my expectation was that I was going to come in, and I see that we have a couple political science majors on the call, so they can resonate with this. I thought I was going to cover congressional hearings and write briefing documents, and that was probably going to be my day. But that simply wasn't the case. I came in, I was quickly assigned 5 projects that all had very different scopes. I was working on the public affairs strategy for our COVID-19 vaccine. I was covering hearings. I was working on preparing the company for whether we would have a Biden administration or a Trump administration, what those different policies would look like. And then I was working out and building out our Delaware engagement strategy, where we were identifying new ways to partner in the community. And that was a great project because I wasn't pigeonholed within corporate and government affairs. I got to work across the organization with people like Courtney, people like our digital team, our marketing team, to identify tools that are existing in our business and how we can pull them through to Delaware. So it was a lot of unique opportunities to really grow, and it was not useless work I was doing. I was really given the opportunity to provide value. And then I was also given the chance to network. I'll cite an example where our vice president of corporate affairs, who is probably one of the busiest people at the company. She is our chief negotiator for our COVID-19 contracts with the US government. And I was able to meet with her on almost a weekly basis to talk about nothing besides my development. And they really gave me that opportunity to grow. And there was never a time in the company where I reached out to someone for time on their calendar to chat about their business function and their career path where I was turned down. You really have that opportunity, and I was just constantly given an opportunity to grow. And they actually asked me to stay on throughout the year, so I've been here ever since. And it's just been an all-around great opportunity. I'm super excited to start my full-time career with AstraZeneca following graduation of my MBA. In about 2 weeks, I graduate, and then I'll be moving into a full-time role. And I'm happy to take questions on my internship experience at the end or now, but I cannot recommend the company enough.
Awesome, David. Thank you so much. So it was a pleasure to meet David back when he started. He was I had started this role and had been here for about 5 months or so when I had the opportunity to meet him and some of his colleagues that are also going to be joining us for full-time roles starting in July. So it's something that is always a work in progress. If I stood before you and said, we have this all buttoned up, we're a well-oiled machine, I would be lying. It is very important for you to build relationships, which is why like this is truly a call to action. You've got some contacts on this line that we're going to ask you to connect with us right on LinkedIn, and to reach to us if you're serious about AstraZeneca, because as any business is, we are very relationship driven. And it's important for you to express your aspirations, to tell us what you want, and trust that sometimes the universe will align to work on that, right? If this is the right place for you, if this is what you're after, the why behind that, your aspirations and the legacy you're looking to start with your career is really important information. So with that, I go to this, I just realized this may have been up the whole time. There we go. The learn more about AstraZeneca highlights here. I've just asked Danielle before we started this call if it would be okay for me to send her an executive summary of this conversation. And within that, the ask will be for you to do some research of your own. So we have a very, very robust public website. It is a global website, important for you to know, and it is AstraZeneca.com. And within there, you can learn about our therapy areas. You can learn about the hot topics in the business right now. You can see under the media tab all of the media news flow on AZ. You can see some information about stocks, right, from our investors. So again, news flow there. Our sustainability initiatives, who we partner with, and our careers. So within this website, the careers tab will take you to an overview of all sorts of posted positions. And you can toggle and search there by interest, by location, etc. Just like any site that I'm sure you're used to visiting from a careers perspective. Take some time and do that. I always like to advise to learn about the jobs that are offered. And don't just look at the ones that you think you might be qualified for, right? Look at some of the big ones. What are you aspiring to? What do you want to do with your career? If it's a VP job, signpost that now, and know that, and look at what that job description might be and some of the capabilities that you're going to want to start developing now. If you've got no idea what AZ does, again, great place to start. And within this career site, there is a tab for early talent, early in career postings. And that early in career site is global. So you will see jobs in the US and you will see them across the world. I encourage you to look there and understand what's being offered in our internship and our apprenticeship programs. Via what I sent to Danielle, she will be able to send you out a direct link, and that will be to our current summer internship opportunities. Know that we are still in the throes of the pandemic, as you know know very well and have been impacted by substantially. At this time, those internships will be virtual. I do not see that changing for the course of the summer, but I don't have a crystal ball. That's just my own inference. But right now, they are all virtual opportunities. It's also important that you follow us on LinkedIn. So I just took a screenshot here. All you have to do in LinkedIn, and hopefully you have your account set up, is just follow AstraZeneca. It's important from a news flow perspective just to see what AZ is pressing out within the media, within social media, to be able to react and respond. You can get a sense for some of our leaders, who they are, what they do, some events that are happening. So make sure you do that. And then another call to action, right, to please ping me on LinkedIn and look to connect. And if you're serious about your starting a career at AZ, let us know that. Okay. So with that, 25 minutes in, we've been chatting here extensively, and I would love to see who has some questions here. And I'm going to take this presentation mode off so I can see the screen and see who's joined us. And really, please, like, this is the time, right? This is a super informal time for you to get some of those questions out. So who's curious about anything? What do you want to know?
Feel free to go ahead and unmute yourselves, guys.
Please do.
You can turn your video on, share who you are, make that impact. This is the time.
Yeah. While you're thinking and getting up the nerve, I have a story to share. So that we in HR, we call it moments that matter, right? And there's certain moments that matter within your career. And one of them is certainly where you're seated right now. So this is a pretty small audience, it's a very small live audience, right? And you've got David, Tom, and myself here. And I guarantee you, if you've got something burning on your mind and you just want to chat, right now is the time to do it, because we will remember you, right? We may connect with you on LinkedIn afterwards. That's the situation you want to be in. This is a moment that matters for you. No one's going to advocate for you. You have to advocate for yourself. And oh my goodness, I did not learn that early enough in my career. So please be brave. We're in a safe space here.
Hi, I'm Jeline. I'm a forensic biology sophomore. I just had a question about the internships, like about how many interns do you guys get, like per, I guess in the summer time?
Great question, Jeline. So it has varied. And unfortunately, last year our numbers dipped because of the pandemic, because of the situation that we were in. So I think the year before last, we were over 100. We dipped down last year. I think it was still, and David, you keep me honest here, it was, I think, between 60 and 80 internships that we were still able to offer. And remember, Jeline, that's across all of our therapeutic areas, and that's across all of our senior executive team areas. So that includes our Gaithersburg site. And Gaithersburg being very high science in nature, because it's an R&D hub, a research and development hub for us. They have a lot of internships in Gaithersburg. So based on your major, that may be something that you may want to consider. And we can even go so far as to put you in touch with the right people to speak about that if it's something you'd like to pursue.
And yes, there was 17 interns in Gaithersburg in 2020, 92 in 2019. I can vouch for how great Gaithersburg is. I happen to grow up in Montgomery County, Maryland down there, so I would highly recommend exploring.
Yeah, me too. I was in Montgomery County too.
Where did you go to high school?
I graduated from Blake High School.
Oh, very good. I went to Winston Churchill.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Hey, Courtney, I wanted to just throw something in for Jeline as well. And I think
please.
we were totally, I think 74, 75 total interns last year across the US. But Jeline, I'd like to see your face light up as you did when we started talking about Gaithersburg and Montgomery County. But here's the thing, and Courtney's right, and you're going to see it across the board. With the pandemic, most companies' demand dipped. But guess what? You only need one job. So for you and for all of you, your peers, don't get discouraged if you see small numbers or numbers dipping until we get out of this thing. Be confident in what you have to offer companies. And listen, I'm out here trying to get my one job. Whether it's a company has 20 over a summer or 200, you only need one.
Good counsel, Tom. Good counsel.
Thank you.
Jeline, thanks for being brave and speaking up. Really appreciate it. What else is on your mind?
So I'm going to ask a question, maybe to help start the traction here. So you mentioned during your presentation that that the core values are an important aspect that one should know when going into interviewing. Do you have any other type of nuggets or suggestions, best practices for those who have applied, have been offered an interview, and like what you're looking for as an HR professional, or what managers are looking for with AstraZeneca?
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. And so I definitely am gonna ask Tom and David to jump in here with their perspectives as well. I'll start with mine. First one is authenticity. And so that means being able to show up and have a really good understanding for who you are and what you want, and be able to express that. There is no story that you should be able to tell better than your own. And we are so excited to hear that. I love interviewing, because it just is fascinating to understand where people come from, what they're aspiring to, and how they found AstraZeneca, and why they see that as part of a career journey. So early on, right, when you're in school, you may not know. I had no idea what AstraZeneca was when I applied. I really had no idea what they did here, but I showed up with my development story and with who I was and what I was good at, and made the ask, this is where I want to be. I know I can contribute here. It is that simple. So know who you are and be able to tell your story. The other one is show up curious. There is so much to learn about the world, about people, about an organization. Show up curious. You will have to be curious throughout your entire career, especially in a large organization where you're constantly just trying to figure out who's doing what, where, what's happening, asking questions. Tom will certainly be able to speak to this as he's just started here, right? Like curiosity doesn't go away. And third is agility, learning agility. Be a learner, want to learn. You are not a subject matter expert in anything, and most of us are not, right? We need to learn as we go, and then slowly you develop expertise. It does not happen overnight. And at any point in time, people will take risks on you to put you in a place where you aren't a subject matter expert again. And no matter how far you get in your career, that's going to continue to happen to you. So show that you're an active learner, show that you're willing to just give it your all. And if that comes through in an interview, chances are you've done the best you can do, and you should be happy with that, right? Tom, I'll pass it to you to see what you'd like to add. Oh, you're on mute there. There you go.
No, thank you, Courtney. And true, as you were sharing that, I'm getting excited because again, just team that's on the line, I'm slightly over 2 months with AstraZeneca. So my interview experience is still somewhat fresh in my mind. So I agree with everything that Courtney said. And what I'll add to it is just as you prepare and, really sharing this, those values that were shared earlier, those were questions that I got. So really understand those. But to Courtney's point, become a great storyteller. Again, no one, as was mentioned, can tell your story better than you. But I'm going to go one step above and beyond with that. Tell your story, and where I've seen people differentiate themselves in a positive way is tell your story, but also through your research about the company and the job, tell your story and how it aligns with what the company is looking for. That's the piece where I see students really excel. Telling your story is great. And then someone says, okay, great, but so what? When you're able to sell that value of your story and your experience and align it with what the requirements for the job are, it makes you a stronger candidate, A, and it also communicates to the company that you've done your homework. You've analyzed this job description and you've applied your stories and where you could see yourself adding value to that. So that's one of the things. And then the other part is, Courtney mentioned it as well. You all are in the mode of learning now. So when you land internships, just continue in that same mindset. The only thing that has changed is the stage. It's not a classroom, it's a company. And it's very different from you because you've mastered in many ways the classroom setting of this learning piece, but then take that on to the workplace and continue with that same spirit of learning. And you all been at the apex of that learning cycle now in college. Don't forget that, please. Keep that rolling.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I took something from that. So if you guys didn't, just know that I did. All right. Any other questions for the Hornets that are on the line? Go ahead. Turn your cameras on, unmute yourself, put in the chat. Again, this is your time to make that connection and to be a standout.
I can't. Oh, sorry. Here comes Johnson's coming in. Thank you for coming. Or Sorty, go ahead. Sorry.
Good morning. So my name is Jordan Harris. I'm a junior majoring in finance at Delaware State University. And I believe it was Mr. Fitzgerald who said he actually did an internship in financial services. So my question is, for a finance major, and of course, any business, any company needs, a finance department. How do you find your way into a more healthcare based company, and how do you kind of find what is your thing and your place within that company?
Would you like me to speak to that? I'd be happy
Sure.
to.
Like to.
So yeah, I came from a public policy background. My first internship was down in DC on Capitol Hill. So there I wasn't working in healthcare policy. I was specializing in financial services policy, but I really developed an expertise for the way our political process worked. And so I found that the skill sets I developed doing that work were directly transitionable into this role where I had to learn healthcare. Healthcare is obviously very complicated and that took a little while, but I was able to tie in my previous experience of just understanding the political process and how things get done in DC to leverage the healthcare experience I was then going to get. So I took my previous experience, really leveraged it, kind of brought it home in my interview, everything, and then learned healthcare once I got here. For someone who's finance, you come in with expertise on finance. We're always looking to understand the return on investment on a certain project. So that's super important, and those skills will be directly transitionable.
Yeah, Jordan, don't worry about the healthcare part, right? If finance is your game, you can do that anywhere. And so we do have an awesome finance internship program here. It's one of the areas of the business that is extremely aggressive about early talent pipelines.
Mhm.
And I'm sitting right on the floor with the finance folks right now.
Oh,
So when
cool.
we say speak up, that's what we mean. Like if that's something that you're really after, I encourage you to please just connect on LinkedIn. Do not limit yourself by thinking, if one business is different from another, just think about the similarities.
Yeah, thank you for that because I actually just accepted an offer with Medtronic, which is kind
Look
of
at you.
also a a healthcare-based company. So I just wanted to get a different perspective on how I could go in with the open mind, even though I'm used to just finance and numbers. So I think I'm looking forward to learning the healthcare aspect as well.
Oh, you should be. So much excitement ahead of you. So huge congratulations on that.
Thank
That's
you.
our loss. You go be amazing. Or just remember us in the future. That's
Yes, for sure. Thank
phenomenal.
you so
Have a
much.
blast.
Thank
A
you.
very
Yeah.
close MBA colleague of mine did her MBA internship at Medtronic, and she ended up transitioning into pharma, and she'll be joining Merck next year. So keep us in mind.
Yes, for sure. Thank you, guys.
It's great. Thanks, Jordan. I did see someone else's screen pop up, but then disappear.
All right, guys, last chance. We won't have them for long, and Miss Craig will not have the answers for you in regards to AstraZeneca.
They're all going to come to you, Danielle.
Go ahead. I'm gonna give you, one last chance. We don't want to keep them. But any other questions, comments, statements?
So
I can't be quiet on this one, team. I'm sorry. I'm hitting here biting my lip. So class, when you think about this, and one of the things that Courtney said earlier on, and she spoke on my behalf and Dave's behalf and on the company's behalf, we are interested in connecting with you, and we genuinely want to help you in any way we can. So here's a great opportunity to ask some questions directly. And just in the spirit of all of this, and I know first time meeting, everything's virtual. I get it. I totally get it. But here's the thing, and I've worked a lot with college students, and I know people are very comfortable with, in the job search and educating yourselves, very comfortable with the tech side of it, sending applications online, everything else. But let me just share with you, and I'm sure the folks who have jobs will hopefully nod their head in agreement with this, is that there's a touch piece to this. Here's an opportunity to personally, well, virtually connect with us because yes, being qualified, yes, applying, but also from the learning standpoint, we touched on that earlier. You've got people here that can help educate you on, as David talked about, just finance in general. On, as Courtney did a great job of explaining about AZ. So please leverage us now while we can, because again, once we go back to our offices, it's not that we won't get back to you, we will, but you got a captive audience right now. So I'm gonna get off my soapbox. Just wanted to put that out there.
Love it, Tom.
And not that needs emphasis, but I'll add a little emphasis with a quick story. When Astrazeneca, luckily in person, came to Temple back in the winter of 2020, I spoke up, I asked a question about the program, and actually landed my first interview on the spot there. And we ended up networking, and I ended up filling out my application after I was offered the job. So there are opportunities to make those inroads and connections during a session like this.
I think it was Kiara. I keep seeing her screen pop up and back. I hope she's not having technical problems there.
Okay, so we gave
So-
it to you. Oh,
I
there you
hear
go.
There she is. I
somebody.
hear
this
her.
Kiara.
Okay.
Sorry, my nephew keeps hitting my camera. I do have a question. So I'm in the agriculture major. So I'm not sure which internships I should be applying for. I was wondering if you guys had any insights on that.
Yeah, I think that's a great, that is a great question. And this is another great example of when you just speak up, there's like people like us love to connect you to the right people if we're not, right? So that's another thing to note. So within AZ, like again, I was an education and a communications major. So never did I think that a healthcare organization like AstraZeneca is where I would find my true, career journey. So keep that in mind, because just something, if it's your major, doesn't mean that it's what you're going to be doing. So think about the skill set you have, Kiara, and what you love to do. Take a look at that job board, because places like HR, like Tom Space, recruiting, connecting people, making things happen, project management, within our digital space, digital communications. There are such a wide breadth of opportunities that don't look and feel like a specific major. The other thing I do want to say, because both my father and my brother are agricultural gurus, turf science. I call them the dirt doctors. Clearly, I'm not one, but they work locally. My brother at a golf course. So he looks after, he's a superintendent of a golf course here in Wilmington. So there's a lot of great jobs there that are very tailored to agricultural, high science, chem backgrounds. And then my father works just in PA, for another agricultural organization that works with local farmers who are looking to make great crops every year, right? So those are very specific agricultural. But just that question now, Kiara, if you want to connect, you ping me on LinkedIn and message me, and I'll get you in touch with them directly, right? So that's how relationship building like this works with Tom's ask. Like we're people. So we want to help and connect you to opportunities, whether it be at AstraZeneca or not. We use our networks to make sure you get where you need to go. So I've got a question that you may not answer, but I have to do a little research of my own in this space. And Danielle, maybe you can help out in the longer term, but we're constantly working here, folks like Tom and myself, on making a bigger footprint for our company so that more folks know about us, especially early in their careers. So if I had my druthers, right, my vision is that I'm in a kindergarten classroom talking about AstraZeneca, and working in kindergarten through 12th grade, talking about what we do here, and working on developing capabilities like learning agility, like self-awareness, right? The things that just make you a great employee. Then in the university world, you start to really build that out and think about obviously where you're going to end up. I don't think we do the best job at that in the US, broadly in the education world, but I especially think we've got some opportunity and ideas and folks like you on how you're kind of receiving our messaging and what you want from us. Like if you can tell us anything we can do better to be valuable to you, to show you anything, to help you, to partner with you, to mentor with you, we will take all of that counsel. So if anybody has any ideas they'd like to shout out, please do it. Otherwise, Danielle, I'll lean into you to continue on that conversation.
Definitely. I didn't want to cut any young professional off, but we definitely can talk more about that
Okay,
and
good.
get some opportunities set up
Good.
there. All right. Any other comments, questions, feedback, as they're looking for feedback? Before we shut this down, okay.
Hello.
All right.
Yes.
Better find us on
I
LinkedIn.
heard a
Oh, we've
voice.
got somebody. We've got somebody there.
Heard a
Hello.
voice.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Taylor, we
Can
can
you
hear
hear me?
you.
Hello. So I mean, I didn't have any questions or anything, but as far as anything that you can do better, I mean, I think you did a great job. You know, you gave us a lot of information to take today, and I think that's probably why we didn't have any questions.
That's great, Taylor. Thank you for that feedback. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep. So we've got to ping us on LinkedIn. Okay, and drop us a message on who you are and that you were at the Del State Info session and you just want to connect, or you're looking for whatever it is you're looking for, right? Find us. All three of us are on LinkedIn. Know that we're here. I know Danielle will forward us along anything that you've got additional question wise. We're excited to hopefully have an opportunity to know you better in the future. Okay, so Danielle, thanks for letting us be here with you today.
Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you so much for giving a great insight on AstraZeneca as a company, but then also insight on how our professionals, our young professionals can go throughout life and be successful at all stages. The nuggets that all of you, David, Tom, Courtney gave today, something that, I've been in the field for 20 years, something that I could take from, right? So definitely something that our students can take. And so I appreciate you. Your feedback, your presentation, because it included all of that, amazing. So thank you so much. A lot of times we just get info shared and it's just all about the company and that's it. But the fact that you are looking to better the intern or the future employee, as a whole, is exactly what we need, exactly what our students need, exactly what future employees need. So thank you so much. Thank you.
The gift is ours.
David,
Thank you.
congratulations for graduating in May. I did not see very many seniors on the line, but if you are a senior, congratulations. It's coming a month for Delaware State students, May 8th. Congratulations. Please connect with everyone who's on this line today with LinkedIn, right? Make your connections. If you haven't heard it, I know you've heard it 1,000 times. The way you can get into a door, mostly 80% of the time, is by someone you know, right? Because they can either open the door for you or connect you with someone who can open the door for you. So just like with agriculture.
That's right. That was
being
Kiara.
able to connect Kiara, being able to connect and Courtney being able to be or willing to connect you with someone. So always step up, always share, always introduce yourself, allow yourself to shine in the spaces that you are entering into, right? Because someone will remember that smile. They will remember the story that you gave. And as Tom said, tell your story. Tell your story and someone will remember, and that's how you get to your next. Thank you so much for joining us today. You guys know I give gift cards. So my winners today, the people who ask questions. Jordan Harris. Hold on.
Jaylene.
Don't get on me, but I don't know how to pronounce your first name. Jaylene?
Yeah.
Jaylene Franklin. And
Yeah,
Kiara.
right.
I'm sorry, Kiara. I'm looking.
Get Kiara's last
Carol.
name. It's C. Yeah,
Yes,
Carol.
Carol.
Yep.
So you guys, I'm gonna put, you'd have my email, dkcraig, CRAIG @DESU.com. Reach out to me. I'm on campus Mondays and Tuesdays. You can come stop by my office in the library, get your gift card. If you're not on campus, email me your address. I'll make sure you get it. All right. Congratulations. Thank you, AstraZeneca, for joining us today. We appreciate you.
Make it a great day. Enjoy the beautiful weather.
Yes, get out there and get some sunshine.
Okay, take
All
care.
right.
Be well.
Thanks,
Have a great one,
everyone.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.